What's up, guys? My name is Jerry, and today's video is going to be on the Detroit Pistons. So we're going to be talking about why this team is set up perfectly for the future, and we're going to jump right into the video. Now, the Detroit Pistons have lost a lot more games than I anticipated this season. I thought we were going to hover around that 11th or 12th seed spot, and no way did I think at this point in the season that we will only have 18 wins. But at the end of every dark tunnel, there is light. And since the trade deadline, the Detroit Pistons have been looking like a totally different team. We've beaten some of the best teams in the NBA. All our games have been close and competitive. And then there's also some games that we won down the stretch in the clutch. And that's just things that you love to see from a young, developing team. And it got me to thinking, watching our Pistons over these last couple of weeks, like, this team is set up perfectly for the near future. And I think some of the key components, there's three key components that you got to have for a successful rebuild, and that's you already got to have young developing talent on the team, you got to have draft capital, and you got to have cap space. And the Detroit Pistons right now, they have an abundance of all three of those things. And when you look at this season, we start off with the developing talent that the Detroit Pistons have. I feel like they have a lot of it, and it starts with Cunningham, the guy we drafted #1 overall, who was the correct pick. And I think any team that had the #1 pick in the draft should have went with Cunningham. And Cunningham is a player who, just ignorant NBA fans, first week, second week of basketball, calling him Cade Bustingham, little weak nicknames like that. And nobody took into account that he had missed training camp with an ankle injury, and he got off to a slow shooting start as a rookie. And things like that is normal for a rookie. You should never call a player a bust even after their first season in the NBA, because you never know. It takes time. But anyways, Cade Cunningham, as the season has progressed, as the season has went on, he's gotten better and better. And since February 16th, he's been playing as the best rookie in the NBA. He's averaging 21 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists. And that's just some crazy numbers to put up as a rookie. But he's just learning how to control the game and play at his pace. And he's just a really fun player to watch. He has every toolkit. He has the three ball, he has the mid-range, and my favorite part about Cade Cunningham is his craftiness, because he's not the fastest player and he's not the most athletic, but he can break you down with his handle, and he just make very smart, calculated, effective moves. And I feel like since the beginning of the season up until now, he's shown a lot of growth as a player, and I think his potential is through the roof, and he's going to be the building He's going to be the building block around the Detroit Pistons rebuild. And then also players like even Killian Hayes, moving him to the bench seems to has benefited his game a lot. And what I like from Killian Hayes, he's not where we want him to be as a scorer, but Killian Hayes has shown that he can hit wide open 3-point shots. He's shown that he's an elite playmaker, and he's also shown that he plays some great on-ball defense. And he's grown in little steps, and when you take those little steps, they lead to big ones. And I think the only thing that Killian Hayes needs to work on as an NBA basketball player is his confidence when it comes to scoring the basketball. But other than that, like I said, he makes plays for others at an elite level. He can hit open threes, and he plays some really tough on-ball defense. So Killian Hayes, he's taking those baby steps, continuing to be patient with him. And then there's been guys like the sophomores on the team, Saddiq Bey, Isiah Stewart. Since the All-Star break, Saddiq Bey has started to look like the 3-point shooter that we saw last season. And not only that, you can see that he's been working on other facets of his game. He's learning how to get to the rim and use his size and strength when there's a smaller defender on him. I've seen Saddiq Bey get a lot of points at in the post this season, whether it's posting up and shooting a fadeaway, or posting up, throwing up a baby hook, or anything like that. He's been doing a great job of finding other ways to score, other than the three ball. And then Isiah Stewart starting to get acclimated at being a small ball center, learning how to play big, even though he's at a height disadvantage. and we haven't seen him play in a couple of games. He got a bone bruise on his knee. Hopefully he gets back really soon. But since the All-Star break, I've seen him getting really better on the defensive side of the ball, and also when it comes to rebounding and scoring. He's developing a baby hook himself, and he's looked really good as a developing player for the Detroit Pistons. So all these guys, Cunningham, Saddiq Bey, Killian Hayes, Isiah Stewart, even Marvin Bagley, he's looked good since he's came to the Pistons. And I know it feels like he's been in the league for a minute, but he's only 23 years of age. So I feel like the Pistons have an abundance of young developing talent. And then when you look at the draft capital that we will have going into next season, since we lost so many games this year, we're going to get another lottery pick, at least a top 7 pick. And it's hard to say what we could go at right now, because I think we're right in between going for a big or taking the best available player, because right now with Marvin Bagley and Isiah Stewart, they're looking pretty solid, and adding another big to the mix with them could kind of throw off the development for all three bigs if you add another big to the mix. So I feel like we gotta wait until we see what how the rest of this season goes at the big position, because it's just really tough to tell right now what the Pistons should be looking for in the NBA draft. So I think we gotta wait on that. And then my favorite part, or the part I'm most excited about, I got a plan that I'm going to tell you guys. But the Detroit Pistons, I believe they have the most cap space going into next offseason, and I don't think they should spend it all, because next year's free agent class isn't the strongest. But then again, Detroit Pistons, small market team, so it's not like we're gonna bring a superstar to our team. But something I was thinking is Miles Bridges. He has the option to leave the Charlotte Hornets. He has the option to leave the Charlotte Hornets next season. I was just thinking that if we can bring Miles Bridges back to his home state, I'm pretty sure all my Detroit Pistons fans, they know Miles Bridges. He loves the culture of the Detroit, the Flint area. Listen to his music. He has the Detroit rap style to him, and he just loves to be in Detroit. And I feel like if we can bring him home to the Pistons, I was thinking of a starting five of Cunningham, Saddiq Bey, Jeremy Grant, Miles Bridges, and then either Marvin Bagley or Isiah Stewart. I feel like with that starting five, a lottery pick, and then also all the other young players we got developing, I think we could squeeze into the playoffs. And not only will we squeeze into the playoffs, but I feel like we would be one of the most entertaining teams in the NBA to watch if we can bring Miles Bridges home. But that's just one of my plans. That's my fantasy going into the offseason, is to be able to bring Miles Bridges to play with the Detroit Pistons. That would be a phenomenal thing. And then also some other free agents. I know the Pistons, I was reading up that they're interested in Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson, he would be a great addition to this team. I wouldn't pay him no max money though, but he's a guy that will fit in perfectly, because he's a big that doesn't need the ball, but he comes in and set effective screens, crazy lob threat. And then also on the defensive side of the ball, he's probably one of the top 5 shot blockers in the league. So that's something that the Detroit Pistons struggle with, is protecting the rim. But I'm just thinking, like, the Detroit Pistons have so many assets. They have draft picks, they have cap space, and then they also have young developing players. And one other guy I forgot to bring up is Isaiah Livers. I think Isaiah Livers has the potential. What I like about him is his size. He's a tall player, and he's kind of built. So he plays some really good defense, and then also that corner 3 ball, that's his spot. He doesn't miss from there, and he's looking pretty good since he's come into the lineup. You know, he was dealing with the foot injury, but he's looked really good in that Pistons uniform, and I think he's another guy that's filled with potential. But the Detroit Pistons, things are looking up for them for the next couple of years, and I'm telling you, we bring Miles Bridges home, lottery pick, young developing players, I'm calling it, we going to the playoffs. And not only we going to the playoffs, but we going to be one of the most entertaining teams in the NBA. But that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below some free agents you want the Detroit Pistons to go after this upcoming offseason. Then subscribe for more weekly content. We do this all the time, man. And that's curtains.